हरिः ओम् श्री गुरुभ्यो परमगुरुभ्यो श्री आनंदतीर्थ भगवत्पादाचार्यभ्यो नमः। नारायण परिपूर्ण गुणार्णवाय विस्फोदयस्थितौलयन्नियतिप्रदाय ज्ञानप्रदाय विबुधासुरसौख्यदुःखसत्कारणाय विददाय नमो नमस्ते। यो विप्रलिम्ब विपरीतमतिप्रबोधान् पादान् निरस्य कृतवान् भुवितत्ववादम् सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपातकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवर्यहं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै। तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। We said Shanti 3 times. I was thinking of explaining it earlier itself. The first Shanti is Adi Devika, that is the disturbances from the cosmos, rain, thunder, or any other disturbance. Request them to provide for the pursuit of our scripture knowledge. The second Shanti is Adi Bauddhika, any disturbance in our environment, in our atmosphere, in our nearby surroundings, within our own house or close by, requesting provide our pursuit. The third Shanti, internal disturbance, Adhyatmika. If there is an internal disturbance in terms of any confused thinking or some issues that has been agitating, request them and provides pursuit. This explaining. We will be going to the second mantra. Before that, last time, we concluded. Prabhupada has quoted one episode from the Sai Charita. It's supposed to be total good example of Isavasyaupanishad. Because this is concerning the Isavasyaupanishad only this particular episode, I would like to narrate that small episode, because some of us may not be knowing, some of us might have read or remembering the episode. Benefit of all of us to know about it. I will just give a brief discussion on this. I would request Prabhupada to correct if there is anything different from discussed now, what is going to be discussed now. There was one Dasaguna who is a very great devotee of the Sai Baba. He was getting into the literature and provide treatise on that. He was trying to give a full-fledged treatise without any blemish on the Isavasyaupanishad with Siddhi Sai Babas. The Sai Babas also asked him to go about it. So when he was doing that, he was trying to find some good answers, to conclude the Sara of Upanishad, so that everyone can understand across. And he has been debating with a lot of his peers. He has been discussing with his guru who has taught him, and find out exactly what should be the import of the entire Upanishad and how it can be presented in Marathi. He was trying to write it in Marathi. In that context, he was also trying to debate, and he was also trying to get in touch with the others or scholars outside Shraddha. So in the confused state, when he was wondering what to do, because Baba every day, after his prayers and after his things, he was coming out of the temple or mosque, wherever he was there, he was coming out. As soon as he coming out, he used to give Udi, the Vibhuti, to everyone who comes across, and sometimes he used to apply on some of the devotees also. And he was doing it, and Dasagana also had gone there. And he understood Dasagana was in a very confused state, was confounded. So I advised him, Dasagana, you go to Vileparle. There is one Kaka Dikshit is there. In his house, he will get the clarification from the maid servant on the issue he has been agitated upon all this while. He knows, he was a great devotee of Baba. He knows when Baba says something, that is, he will certainly be giving a direction, for resolution of any of the issues. And certainly it is an issue, it's just been agitating him for quite some time. He will be able to get the answer for that. So he, along with his other fellow scholars, he went to Kaka Dikshit's house in Vileparle. He went there, stayed, and they were discussing, because how the things are now. The Baba center, certainly we will find some solution. Discussing that, and Kaka Dikshit is also a scholar, and he advised them. and he was also discussing with them, and they stayed there and slept overnight. And next morning when they were about to get up, suddenly they heard a wonderful song which really touched their heart. And it was a song, it was as if it is coming from the trance of a person. It's a totally devoted, and they say it is a young girl who is singing this song. We're trying to find out what is that. Such a wonderful, she's in a bliss. I think no one else would have given, no one else would have sung so beautifully and so much involvement. When they went and saw down the servant maid in the house of Kaka Dikshit, and he was in a tattered clothes, she was washing the vessels and singing that wonderful song in Marathi, the meaning of which was somewhere like she was telling, she was singing about a red sari, wonderful sari. Red sari is a symbol of graceful, and it is the Shakti Upasana. Red sari is very sacred. And it is within a golden zari, and it's got the weft and warp. It's so beautiful, it is so soft and silky, and it makes anyone wearing it, graceful and grand, and gives some bliss to the person who will be wearing. She was singing about that sari, describing the zari, the pattern, and the flow, the fall, everything. And stunned, the little girl in tattered clothes, and she sing about a sari, red sari. They decided, I think we should get it. After all, this is what Baba has been getting to people, whatever they are longing for, and giving solution to all of them. At least let us do whatever this we can do. But he talked to the Pradhan, who was sort of a benefactor of Kaka Dikshit and people around there, and Pradhan got a wonderful red sari next day. He invited this girl, to Pradhan's place and offered her this red sari with a zari, what she was thinking. So happy, so in fact taken over by the sight of the red sari, as if she has taken a meal after having observed Vrata for more than a month. After she has got a food with the sweets and all other things, which would make anyone happy. So got elated, and she took it, with such a love and affection. They really thought she is a deserving girl, give it, she's got it so beautiful. I think it's, after all, they could do something like that. They were thinking that. Anyway, they went about, okay, this good, we could do something good, as Baba has been doing to so many people. And when they went about, next morning, that girl again came. She sang the same song, in the same tone, the same reverence, in the same bliss. They were all wondering what has happened to her. She is still in the same state of bliss and trance. I thought, she has got it and she must be satisfied with the red sari. With that, I think perhaps, she will be doing something else, but she's still singing. They went about, she found out, still, they thought, she must have come in the red sari, wearing it, because she is so happy to receive it. After all, she should be wearing it today. But she was still in the same tattered clothes. She was singing so beautifully, and trying to find out what is that. She said she got it, she owned it, and she has just kept it. And it is given by God, and she has kept it, and she is very happy, because she could, what she was singing about, she could see that, and she could get it, and she preserved it. And she came again in the tattered clothes, and she was singing. Then the Dasganu, Ishavasyam idam sarvam kinte jagattam jagat tena taktena bhunjitaha makrida kasya siddha. Whatever God has given, you should preserve it. And you should not try to exploit it. You should be happy with whatever has been given. And you do your duty with a total devotion to the God. And she was doing the same thing. She has got it and she has preserved it. And she is still in the bliss. After all, because she is doing everything as an Antaratma's control, command and control. Now that Dasganu realized, yes, now I have really got the port of Isavasyaupanishad. And I think the best way for me to understand is from this maid servant. That's what Baba has sent me. This was as recorded by Hemant Pant, who has recorded all Baba's Charita, and as retold by Ranade, who was a contemporary at the time. And this is what the instance is about, as a sort of a perfect example of Isavasyaupanishad. The first mantra talked about the renunciation. In other words, take whatever God has given, keep it, do whatever karma, you have a sense of detachment. That is called nivritti. The nivritti is the one, when you are able to discriminate yourself from your duties as well as your obligation in this world, towards others, in the sense of Almighty's presence in you, Almighty's control in you, with His grace, when you are doing the things. You should always feel a divine consciousness based on the Bimba Pratibimba. You are able to impart it in all your action. And finally, it is being offered as an instrument of God to do everything as per His ordain for the given life you are living now. This is a stage which is much higher, perhaps which is required before you get into the process of realizing, process of getting into the ultimate Brahma Vidya or Brahma knowledge, to enlighten, to get yourself illumined in the way it has been discussed in the Upanishads and Vedanta. But when you are in a day-to-day life, when you are in a stage, we will not be able to get into that stage of detachment, discrimination, where you have to live with all the desires, with encompassing all this kama, krodha, raga, dvesha in a day-to-day life which you are experiencing because of your interaction with the world and others. How you have to live, doing your karma in such a way, that you are able to do it as much as possible without any bondage. Without any bondage is very important, because when you do your karma, the karma always gives a bondage. Let us say how the karma has been manifested in this world when you have to do your duty. First is swadharma. Karma comes as a swadharma. When you do, your obligations for family, and siblings, and children, your own parents, that is swadharma. You will have to do, it has to be done as per the dharma concept, which all of us have imbibed, for which we are all living in this world, and we will have to do it. There, it is our duty without expecting any obligation. Even when we do it, like, as we are looking after our old parents, their old age, and we try to see them that they are comfortable in all respects, they don't have any feeling whatsoever, anything is left unfulfilled. Even when you are doing, you may not be sure whether they are all satisfied with your service, with your duty, the way you are looking, because you are also having your other obligations to your family, wife, children, and your own peers, your own relatives, your own brothers, sisters, extended family, your own societal obligation. But then, if you don't expect, you don't consider, if you try to do some expectations and all, you are building in a disappointment ab initio. Every expectations creates a possible disappointments right from the beginning. That's why God says you do your duty, don't expect it. Whatever is due to you, the possible obligations from whom you are receiving your benefit of your duty and obligation, certainly it will be returned to you, not perhaps by them, but it's the Almighty will take care. That's why you don't bother. The benefit of your karma will come to you. Whenever you do karma, there are two aspects of it. One is drishti. Drishti is the one, because when you buy a house or when you do something and you get the benefit of a new house, the new residence, the new place, and the new neighbors, you get all those things. And that you are able to feel it, you are at comfort, you are able to feel. You acquire a new vehicle, you are able to have a riding comfort with the new vehicle. And certainly it is for a purpose only you are acquiring all those things. And therefore, that is drishti. The adrishti is whatever, your intentions of acquiring and the intentions of your duty you are performing, where the divinity of your desire is encompassed. It is the underlying substratum, which is defining your actions, based on which you accumulate your papa or punya. That is adrishti. But when you do your duty as an swadharma, or as an obligations established, and you are doing it as a matter of dedication and all, you need not have to bother about. You will not have any bondage. And whatever is supposed to be obtaining by doing your duty, you will be getting it. The Almighty will ensure it. The another kind of duty is parahita. It is extending yourself to others. Maybe you are extending it to a deserving person who is not having any resources to do certain things, maybe for his studies, or maybe to establish himself financially somewhere, or maybe he has some obligations to certain other society, other members of the society, for the common good, and you are helping him as a member. Those type of things are parahita. You are extending yourself, and you are going out of your small circle of family, siblings, and all. You are extending yourself, and you are offering it. That is parahita. That comes, when your ideas open up, and when you have a bigger vision in going out of your circle, as well as doing your duty and sparing your resources for that. That is very important. And when there are certain other duties, when you do get an obligation, and you do get some difficulties. For instance, you are in a business and there is a financial sort of issue for you overcome. or it is a personal relationship, because you get into some sort of issue in your common. In those type of things, when you find, when you are using all your might, your skill, and all, still you are not able to resolve the issues, then you wonder, what that I should be doing it. I've done everything in command. There is something much me lacking. We do it. And what happens, when you feel at that point of time, that you have been let down by the circumstances, despite your best of efforts and best of your applications resources, you resort to the other means of mitigation. When reason fails, faith begins. It is not a faith in the God, faith in so many others. Someone says, you go to this astrologer, he will tell you what is the problem, he might give you some parihara to be done. Once you do that, perhaps it will help you. It has helped some other people whom I know. It has helped my own brother. Someone would give you some sort of ideas like that. You may do it. Or someone will ask you, please go to Tirupati, or please go to some other pilgrimage center and spend some time, offer your prayers to the God. It might help you in getting resolved. So those type of things, perhaps you might as well do it, because after all, it will help you, when you go to a pilgrimage center, or when a place, where so much of the energy is available, the Almighty is always in a sort of where He gives solution to the problems of the people, and it has been proven, and there are so many people who have sort of recorded their own experience. You go there, but when you go there, what it does is, it helps your mental frame to withstand the pressures, and perhaps you get some better ideas to mitigate your issues, and perhaps you by chance you may get to meet someone there, and that person must have sort of sorted out similar issues with some other, or he himself must have experienced. Then you are being put in touch with another person, so he may be able to help you, and all this may happen. These are all per chance. It may happen or it may not happen. But these things you should keep it limited as much as possible. Finally, then you will have to do as per your intuition, internal control, as it tells you what you should do. Because based on your own experience, and based on your own the positive desires, based on your own duties and obligations which you have realized, your intuition will be the best guide, because it has always been with you. And you've got the Sakshi as per our concept. It has been watching you, it has always been refining you in getting into a better mode, better frame of mind to find a solution for your. The last one is the Nishita Karmas. There are certain things you are not supposed to do. Supposing, where you are supposed to be speaking a truth, you should not desist from telling the truth. If possible, you should do it. But it may be a sort of a precarious situation. Perhaps your organization which you are working for, they may be in a litigation, and they may force you, please go and give this type of affidavit or a witness, so that we'll get through this. But in your heart of hearts, that is not really the right thing for you to do, and it is not correct also. So what you do, you will have to choose, the obligations toward the organization, as well as your own conscience to be very consciousness to be very clear, in doing the thing. Then you will have to find a way out. Very often what happens, you tell the truth. I think, in a way, because I think, you will have to find a way out. There are a variety of ways to doing it. As well, you will have to say, it is like Ashwatthama, the Ashwatthama Kunjaraha, that we have heard it in Mahabharata. It is likewise, you will have to take, you will have to keep your conscience clear, as well as you will have to do your obligations. It is a very difficult thing, but then your intuition will guide you to get through such a thing. For instance, in most of the organizations, we have the issue of, we have got the arbitrations in most of the cases. For the last 20-25 years, arbitration is a thing, which has established norm in all our contracts. When we get into such a particular litigation beyond certain value, you will have to appoint an arbitrator. The vendor or the other party will appoint an arbitrator. Both of them will appoint umpire arbitrator, and all three of them will finally decide the case beyond certain values. For certain values which below the limit, which is the normal transactions that the company is having, the company always gives the right of appointing arbitrator. The arbitrator mostly will be an internal person of the organization. But just because he is an internal person of the organization, he just can't be taking the things only in the direction of the organization's benefit. because you have to record the reason, because when you are giving an arbitration sort of order, you will have to mention exactly, what was the facts of the case and how you have gone about in giving it. Therefore, if there is any sort of a favorable happenings, on the side of the vendor or the other party, that also you will have to record it. But all that you can do is you can reduce the damage to the organization for you. That is fair enough. Basically, you try to give a fine balance. You don't you safeguard the organization as much as possible within the framework of the facts of the case, as well as you are trying to give the benefit what the vendor is supposed to. These are all the things one encounters. Then assuming when we think if we are going to do all these things, if it is going to get into some sort of a bondage issues for us, is it worthwhile if we don't do any of the any of the karmas? Whether we can keep without doing any of the karmas? Why should I get in? If I don't keep the karma, I am safe. I don't have any obligations whatsoever, nor I go for any punya or papa. Let me silently pursue my thing without getting involved in any of those. That is just not possible. As we have discussed earlier, the world is Jagrati. Even if you don't do, your mind will be doing so many things. So when your mind is also thinking so many things when it is doing, that is also karma. So when you do a prayachita during your sandhya vandana, you are doing the prayachita for the actions of manasa, vacha, padbyam, udarane, say all those things. Even that is also there. That's why the Bhagavan says, even the action in inaction, inaction in action, both he talks about in the Karma Yoga. So even when you don't do your action, there is a continuous stream of action that is happening. And it is the same situation when Arjuna got it. In the 21st sloka of first chapter, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the yoga of Arjuna's depression. When he says, Senor Bayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Achyuta, he takes and puts the Ratam, walks the Ratha in the midst of the entire army, both the armies. And he was totally agitated. He's wondering, and he gives his argument. Look, all these people are my kith and kin. They are the great grandfather who has been a stalwart of the entire family, standing there, Bhishma, and all my other cousins are there. This side also my brothers are there. Is it that worthwhile that all of us get killed and we also cause so much of bloodshed and so much of all our people are going to suffer? Our own kith and kin are going to suffer. The society is going to suffer. Is it worthwhile? He had a very broad vision, of course, but the broad vision he has totally sort of he has not been sort of realizing towards his obligations, because he has been put into a situation where he has to do it. It's not his own creation. It has come out of the happenings over the period of last 2 years, where they have tried to do everything possible. Despite that, nothing has happened. That is why, in the second chapter, the second sloka, Krishna says, he gives a jolt to Arjuna. Kutasva kashmalam idam vishame samupastitam anaryajishtam akirtikaram aswargiyam. Arjuna, is it, because why, such a guttural waters get into your brain instead of Ganges water to get in, purify and put you and propel you into action? You've got to do. You cannot see. You will have to do the action. You will have to face it squarely when it comes. You cannot get away with it. In fact, our own Jayatita is tika for this Bhashyam of Madhvacharya when he says, you will have to do action like as you are quenching your thirst. Quenching it when you feel now its temperature is so high, you will have to take the water to quench your thirst. You cannot be sort of hesitating to do it. You will not do it because you will immediately quench that. Even if there is a interruption to be done, you will do it and keep it for a while, and then you will quench the thirst first. So you will have to do the action like that. You will not be able to postpone or procrastinate. That is that's just not possible. That is why Trishna Vichedvat. That's what Jayatita says. And even when you have to do, you will have to exercise your judgment. When you are quenching your thirst also, you will not be taking as much water, as possible. Finally, it makes your stomach full and makes you inactive. You will take only what is required at that point of time. But as well, you will immediately quench the thirst. Likewise, you cannot postpone, procrastinate any action, any time. You will have to face it. You will have to go with your intuition. We'll have to go with the full command and confidence. It is in this context. I just get quite excited to see the picture of Madhvacharya. The ramrod straight, the rapier sharp wisdom, the magnificent eyes, the stance. What he is saying is in full confidence. Look, get into action. You are not supposed to be quenched, and you have to go with the full confidence and never bother about what's going to happen. And in fact, he has given all the 37 great works of Sarvamoola Grantha. He knows the Upanishads, and he just went about it. There is no defensive statement in any of his 37 Granthas. He has given it. He has given the Pramanas. He has given, this is it. We may find it terse. That's what because people are telling. But finally, subsequently, he knows there will be a Jaitirtha and there will be a Vadiraja and there will be a Raghottama Swami. There is Vijayendra Saraswati and there is Raghavendra Swami to give the Tikas and Prakashikas and Sangragas and those ones. He was uniquely, because endowed with so many acharyas, with equal eminence, if not, like contemporaries of their time, to give explanations of Madhvacharya's work. And they are all the very true and fully realized followers of Madhvacharya. That is why each of them stand at par, if not better than the acharyas of other denominations. Madhvacharya, the very name itself is Madhu Ava iti Madhvacharya. Like bee, when it takes nectar from the flowers without disturbing it, at the same time it takes as much as it wants and leaves it. The flower also gets the benefit of pollination. It grows finally into fine fruit. And so is the bee. It goes to the another flower, and it's also to get further enhanced and enriched. And the grasp is such. It is just in a minute it will be able to take the sort of nectar. And finally, in another minute, within few seconds, it will be proliferating everywhere. And his ability to absorb the entire scriptural wisdom from his guru, as well as he had an innate sense of, his being avatara, he had an innate sense to grasp it to the hilt. That is how, he was able to acquire, and he could propound the entire Dvaita philosophy across. He had such a long-standing argument with Trivikrama Panditacharya. He himself from Laghu Vamsa is a sort of a voracious reader and vigorous writer, one of the fine realized soul himself. He himself has become one of the ardent followers of Madhvacharya. There is no other proof that we know about. And we are very fortunate to be the followers of the great philosophy that he has propounded. Whenever I go to any of the matas, first I see where is the picture of Madhvacharya. Has it been provided a prominent place? Has it been kept properly? It itself is an inspiration. It's not a slouching and couching and because looking for a defensive. We are all supposed to be illumined. We are all supposed to get into the sort of a pratyaksha pramana of everything what we are encountering every day. When we are supposed to be endowed with such a fine knowledge from the greatest philosophers what the entire the India has produced. In fact, we'll be talking about sometimes whenever I get it, there are 4 great masters of the world. One in Persia, one in Egypt, one in Italy, Rome, and another Madhvacharya from India. All the 4 great masters in different period of time. From the 11th century to 14th century, how they have molded the thoughts of the entire world. There's a book called Rai Abraham Verghese, and he has highlighted all these great thoughts they have propounded, how it has been kept the entire world churning from the scientific base to the realization of the reality on a day-to-day basis. We will take an opportunity to discuss that as at the time. Likewise, because the karma, when they also say, because when the Acharya also say, never hesitate into it. We'll also be seeing how it has been built in our own, the concept of Hindu philosophy, and particularly in Dvaita also be seeing it. The mantra 2 proceeds as Kurvan Yevehe Karmani Jijivishe Yevam Toi Nanite Hosti Na Karma Lipete Nare Kurvan Yevehe Karmani Jijivishe Chigrum Samaha Yevam Toi Nanyate To Ast Na Karma Lipete Yevam Toi Nanyate To Ast. When you are attached to this body, you cannot do anything other than Manushya Janma. You will have to do the karma only for a living. The life is action, action is life. By doing that, it is expected that all of us will have to live just for about 100 years. That is, 100 years is supposed to be the full-fledged life of any human at any point. Shatamanam bhavati. That is what it is. Even otherwise, in Sandhyavandana, or even as we say, Pashyama Sarataga Satam, Jivama Sarataga Satam, Nandama Sarataga Satam, Mudama Sarataga Satam, Bhavama Sarataga Satam, Shunuvama Sarataga Satam, Pravarvama Sarataga Satam, Jitasyama Sarataga Satam. It's all 100 years, you do your duty. You realize yourself, you perform your dharma. At the same time, you accept, whatever comes in the way with equanimity, without any sort of a grudging or grumbling and all. When you do a karma, it is life, and life is karma. And in that process, you will also get the bondage. And you try to do as much as possible without the bondage. When you try to mold yourself, when you are doing only as an agent, only as an instrument of the divine power, who has given you, bestowed you the body, mind and intellect, as well as the intuition. That is why Bhagavan has said, you have got only authority to do the karma. You don't have any authority to expect the fruit. Karmanyeva adhikarasto mapaleshu katachana. When he said that, you don't expect it. Finally, he will be giving it. You just do it with as much excellence as possible, as much the divinity of the desire that you can create out of your intuition based on your body, mind and intellect. You do for the benefit of the person or society, the person of the people around you. You may also get it, but it doesn't matter, because that is how the life has been. You will have to go through that. This has to be very clearly understood, and there is no way you cannot keep yourself away from the karma. Karma has got to be done now and here without any expectation. There are certain instances which we have come across which will be really startling. For instance, one of the life of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was our tallest leader and the first deputy prime minister. He was a renowned barrister, and he was always living in luxury. He used to have the brand new cars. He was having a roaring practice. Ahmedabad used to go to Privy Council, and he was always representing the cases fully busy, and he used to spend in clubs. And one day when he was in a court arguing an important case, defending one's client, perhaps, will have to avoid a very, very stringent penalty or life term, this serious matter. He was arguing with his heart, mind and soul together, with all his powers in his command, with all the legal niceties and nuances when he was advancing his argument. Sadly, the court came to know there is a telegram for Mr. Patel, and the judge received it, and then he passed it on to his clerk. So the Vallabhbhai Patel just opened the telegram. Normally telegrams were given in those days only for an emergency, were extremely important events or cases. He saw that, then kept it in his coat packet and continued his argument. And he, after finishing the argument and all, when the court was about to rise, out of curiosity, the judge asked, "May I know, Mr. Patel, you had a telegram. Hope everything is fine." Yes, since telegram has come, I was curious to everything is okay. So the Vallabhbhai Patel replied, "Nothing, my wife has passed away. I think just got it. Anyway, I will do." He was very, very attached to his wife. He was loving his wife. But then in the court, was defending the case of a person whose life was at stake. He made that is his immediate duty, and he will just keep his personal sort of loss, and he will have to deal with it only after the events are over. At that point of time, the argument was the most important. This is the sense of duty that is displayed. It is the sort of divine obligations. You are in a situation. You can't say, "Look, I will just take a postponement," because the person must have spent so much of time, energy, and perhaps it may be one of the last opportunity for him to represent. Instead of taking his personal thing and giving a primacy, he gave his obligation, his duty, the primacy to that, and it was an important event recorded. And perhaps it is a startling event. Even a European judge, he got, these are all the people the India has. He seems to have remarked, and the India will certainly give a freedom with such a wonderful people around. There was another instance when our first president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, he is from Bihar. He belonged to the then Presidency of Bengal, comprising the present Bangladesh, West Bengal, Assam, Orissa and Bihar, not to speak of Chhattisgarh as well as Jharkhand. All of them were part of. Dr. Rajendra Prasad never stood in the presidency second in all his exams till his doctorate and barristership, everything else. He was such a renowned person in the entire presidency of Bengal, and finally, of course, he participated. And he was one of the close associates of Mahatma Gandhi. He became the president. He lost his parents when he was very young. His eldest sister, who was almost 20 to 25 years old, she brought him up. The entire career of Dr. Rajendra Prasad was fully developed, it was fully facilitated by his eldest sister. On the second Republic Day celebrations of India, so there was some sort of a commotion in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. But then, only for a few moments, that's all. Afterwards, nothing happened, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad participated in the proceedings. It's a national event, everything was done. And Pandit Nehru also came to know through his sources, something was amiss. And so when he politely inquired Rajendra Prasad what has happened, nothing, let's go through this. After that, finally, it transpired that his eldest sister, who is as good as his father and mother to him, has passed away that month. He never allowed his personal loss to come in the way of a national event. See, Janani Janma Bhoomi, its sort of celebrations or its events are more important than anything. Even Trivikrama Panditacharya, in all his things, Narayana Panditacharya, he tells about Janani Janma Bhoomi. Janani Janma Bhoomi is as good as God. We are lucky to be born in this land, which has given us so great philosophers like Madhvacharya, and so we have to celebrate that, and we will have to follow that. Once we have imbibed all these qualities, finally it comes out and you perform to the highest possible level, to the highest possible, you perform your duty to the hilt. You don't deviate, from directions given by your intuition, which is totally in consonance with the Dharma. In short, when we do karmas to the highest level of excellence, you never get into bondage. It never gets attached to you. In fact, it gives you a propensity to excel every time when you are doing it, because you are trying to take the I out of the entire thing. You are getting the divine desire into all your actions. Your intuition is accordingly commanded by the divinity as much as possible to the common good of everyone around you, everyone who is interacting with you, everyone who is not even at the point of who is not interacting with you at that point of time, who may be interacting in future. That is exactly what they call nalipyata. It has also got one more connotation. Kurvanyeveha karmani jijivishe chatam samaha. When you do karma like this, it automatically gives you a propensity to live for 100 years or so, whatever it is, to live 100% every moment. Because at every point of time when you are called for to perform the karma, you bring all the faculties in you, all the skills you have imparted, assimilated all these whiles, they come into the fore and it helps you and propel. Your intuition helps you to propel it in a particular way, depending upon Kala Desha Vartamana, depending upon the time you are in, the place you are in, the circumstances you are in, it guides you. And you would be wondering at some point of time, is it that I could do this at this particular point of time, which you might not have thought. But by practice, when you have this coming to the fore, you yourself will be astonished. As we have discussed, you will be able to wonder about your own action in your own life every time when you do it and you get it. It is not something you have got materially out of these karmas. It is the immense satisfaction and bliss that reverberates. See, normally what happens is when you see realize the God, it is not something you will be able to express. It is a feeling like Saiva Siddhanta. There is one Tamil couplet and Tamil poem which says, how does feet of the garden மாசில் மாலை மதியமும் வீசு தென்றலும் வீங்கிழ வேனிலும் மூசு வண்டரை பொய்கையும் போன்றதே ஈசன் இணையடி நீழலே. It's like blemishless the sound of Veena which comes, the pristine pure Nada Brahma which comes to your ears. It is like the wonderful twilight, the afternoon meets the evening sliding into the night. And this is also like a breeze which brings a fine fragrance, encompasses and energizes you wonderfully. It is the feeling, you finally, that is how you feel. You will not be able, you have to experience it than to be expressing it. That is the fine feeling of the divine person. If you get this presence every time, in fact, you will be renewing yourself. It is a self-renewal every day in the life has been. It will not be a boredom. You will not be stressed by your sort of obligations to do karmas. When you do the karmas, you will love to do the karmas. because you are going to experience this type of a bliss continuously. The first mantra Upanishad said it's a nivritti, where you have to do it everything with a sense of detachment, as well as detachment in the sense, you are total taking the I out of it and doing it as an instrument of the God, and trying to discriminate, between your own set of needs, experiences, and your own intuition commanding to do the grace of God manifesting in you, the sakshi, which is sort of allowing you to do the doing, which is also sort of being a witness to all your actions when you are doing it. That is the highest level, nivritti. But when you are coming a step down, when you have to leave this world, doing the karmas, and you will have to live for 100 years, that is what is, we are expected to, because everyone, when we bless also everyone, Satamanam Bhavatu, when we say that, because it is that 100 years a person has to live and do the duty as per the dharma. But when you do it, in this way over a period of time, you will be able to discriminate, you will be able to elevate yourself as stated in the first sloka. It is a step 2. The first sloka is step 1. That is the goal. The step 2 is the one to successfully live in this world, deal with this world, deal with the other jivas, and as well deal as per the desires and dharmas established by the primordial power. Primordial power who has always been, molding you and giving you the grace to do the action and energize every part of your body, as well as he gives you the right sense of timing when you do it. This is what finally we will have to get, and we will have to, when you do it, you will not feel like getting stressed. You will not be needing the weekends or something like that. And karma never causes stress on you. You do the karma because you are doing it only when it is necessity, with the total sort of a skill brought forth to the and total detachment as an instrument of Ishvara. This is the second thing. This is pravritti. First is nivritti, this is pravritti. As we go about it, we will see in the few further slokas, as we are going to be taken to the different stages further down, how we have to deal with the things, how we will have to approach the God, and how we will have to realize the God, how we will have to transform the manifestation of the powers, intellect, and intuition given to us by the God in our own thoughts, action, as well as existence, everyday wandering, doing the karma. Life is action and action is life, and life is also a sort of a renewing every day with a wonderful feeling of a bliss. With this, we'll try to keep today's session of the month ended with the Shanti Pata. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti.